Hi everybody, it's Nick here from AI Expo Africa. We're broadcasting AI TV live from the show, our 5th anniversary edition. We're back from COVID. It's our grand return, and it's been great to get back in person with everyone. And it's a real pleasure to welcome Stephen Ozoigbo from ARM, who's the senior director there and been supporting the event in various forms. So Stephen, welcome.
Thanks,
Good to see you.
Congrats on the 5th anniversary. The 5th anniversary of anything.
Yeah, we made it this far.
Yeah, it's worth congratulations.
No,
and,
thank you.
So great to be back in person, to see folks, to communicate with the ecosystem. Congrats.
Yeah, and thanks for your support. I mean, we've been reaching out I think we started reaching out through the TinyML Foundation, and then you got involved, or there was some announcement around the Cortex Hub in East London, which is on the east coast of South Africa. And then that led to a conversation with ARM, and then we got connected through that, and yeah, here we are. So it's funny how these things happen, right?
Absolutely. I mean, for us, I think it was a couple of years ago, my colleagues did actually participate in 2019.
Your ARM colleagues.
My ARM
That's
colleagues,
right, because you're former.
Yeah. So we all know that there's value to the conference and to the fantastic work you're doing with AI media. The whole idea of what media is, not just as a medium for telling what Africa is doing with AI, but the consortia of things you've been able to put together with your team has been exceptional.
No, thank you very much. I mean, look, one of the reasons behind the we'll go off on a tangent here for a minute, but is the very point that you've made, is that actually for young people or startups to get into the media, there's always a penalty, which is cost. Yeah. And what we wanted to do was remove that barrier, both so we could tell the story, the African good news innovation story, not only in South Africa but across the continent. So we do that through Synapse Magazine, and then through the event, which involves big corporates like you, right down to two-man band or two-woman band. We got our Women in AI zone over there, plus the workshop program, which you've been supporting. So that's really aimed at young people. So we're here for business as well, but we're also here to educate. So thanks for doing that, Stephen.
So I'm glad I learned how to say that correctly. I used to say Synapse. It's actually Synapse Magazine.
Yeah, Synapse is the magazine, and the Neuron is our newsletter. So there's a nervous thing there, I guess. But
I love it. I mean, we're ARM. We do Cortex. So
yeah,
let's keep going.
Eventually, we'll have a whole body analogy at some point.
Let's keep going.
You guys have been doing some really interesting stuff. I mean, you've announced a new partnership here at the show with MLab. Do you want to tell us a little bit about
Absolutely. So again, it's part of this ecosystem convening, right, that this show was able to put together. Earlier today, I think the press release just went out. We announced the partnership with MLab. MLab, as a team, we've known for a few months now. But the partnership we're able to announce here is what we'll do to accelerate the work that they've been doing by providing them with tools, with resources, with kits, libraries, trainings, and workshops. Why is this important? As ARM, we have an entire education division. People don't know.
It's interesting,
There is ARM Education. And ARM Education cuts across learners, institutions, everything from K-12 all the way to developers and startups. We have kits and programs for universities, right? So when you start to look at accelerators and incubators, an ecosystem kind of enablers like MLab, it's a natural fit, right? Because we're not having to bend over backwards to support them. Rather, we're hybridizing a lot of the existing tools. So for the South African ecosystem, which is really our launch pad, as you know, we started off with the Cortex Hub.
That's in East London. On the East Coast.
Now with MLab, not only do we have a non-East London partner, they also have these roving labs.
That's right, they got
the mobile labs.
Exactly, yeah.
Which, for us is also as interesting, because you have to get to the kids in the rural areas.
That's right.
You have to get to the kids who cannot come into your physical space. And the leadership team is phenomenal. So a lot of those, and thanks to you for sponsoring them to get in here, because that was also a medium. If for the 2 days I had with the show, I wouldn't have had time to see partners in different places.
Yeah.
But having them here, having the delivery of the kits being local, having you and your team participate, splendid stuff.
So tell us a little bit about the workshop that you guys did. So we run 4 workshops, normally for 200 people each, and each one is run by a vendor. We did NVIDIA, Intel, ARM, and Israel. So tell us a little bit about the workshop and how it went.
I don't know what you heard, but our workshop was fun. It was a fun thing. We had, 50, 60 people there. And yes, they cut across very young people. I think the youngest person there would have been just in high school.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then we had a middle tier of university students, and then we had developers, technologists. We had folks who worked at Toyota there, right, who were building, the next generation of whatever for Toyota. So it was a great mix of people. And I did what I do best, which is communicate with the ecosystem with a language that I felt they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
As ARM, it's not uncommon that folks don't know what ARM does, right? So we had to start off by communicating that. But we also came in with tools and resources that allow them to practicalize a lot of these ideas, right? The kind of boards and microcontrollers that we gave to the audience to create these discussions and to allow for these ideations to happen meant that we could then break out to teams, and we had these teams run little competitions. Our competitions included prizes, and it was really innovation outcomes to say, look,
so it's really hands-on.
Yeah, you have a problem, you have an ARM board, go ahead, research the ARM board, see the features it has, see what it can do, and then with your team of about 7 to 10, come back to us in real time.
Yeah. Because they're 3 hours long, right?
Yeah. No, but that was the first part of it.
Right.
So we had the general what is ARM part. We had the core, what I want to call, I don't like to use the word hackathon because it wasn't that. Let's just call it an ideation process. And then we had our partners from TinyML, Peter Eng, come in on the back end of it and give a TinyML workshop.
Brilliant.
Which in itself was technical, was specific to TinyML, and what it would take for someone who was just learning about it for the first time. But all in all, a smashing, splendid day, and really an embodiment of what this expo is, because we weren't just talking to one audience, we had a very collective, inclusive audience. Yeah,
that's brilliant. So, I mean, what does the future look like, Stephen, for ARM, what you're trying to do in the region, not just South Africa, but the wider ambition? What are your thoughts into 2023 and beyond?
I love it. When people ask me what does the future look like, I work for ARM, right? The future is built on ARM, right? The benefits of working for ARM means we are leading the world's charge. We're sparking the world's potential. And Africa deserves to be part of that future. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm here to validate the fact that this expo, this community, this sandbox, this ecosystem should become an active participant. Right? And if the future is built on ARM, then ARM comes to Africa to say, be part of that future.
Yeah, that's great.
That's the message.
So will we see you next year?
Of course, all things being equal. Knock on. This is not even wood.
It looks like wood, but it's not.
But it's South Africa was our natural landing spot.
Yeah, and that's good to hear. I mean, I think that's good for the government officials and
it was a natural.
The city entities. It's great that you see South Africa, and maybe in particular Joburg and East London, as the jumping off point. So.
Yes. And what it does now, even with this experience, is that it opens up the conversation. Like you said, you run a media company. This conversation will live digitally. The outcomes, I'm looking forward to seeing the sizzle reels and the post takes of the workshop and everything else, because the communication that's going to come out of here is physical, it's digital, it's virtual, and it's on demand. So next year, we anticipate that we should do more. We should bring along a few other partners, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just run out of time, didn't we, really, for that? But
we should make sure that folks then see, even for my teams, right? Folks are looking to say, what's going on in Africa, Steve? Tell us.
There's a lot more than people think.
Yeah, so we should be able to make sure that this becomes a proper representation of what this opportunity is. Carry that along. And my favorite 2 words, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, Stephen, thank you for coming. Thanks for being on AITV. We'll upload that and put a whole load of links to the resources and initiatives that are being run by ARM. And we look forward to seeing you next year. Thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Take care.
Cheers.